I didn't. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Limit Racing League. Tonight we are once again at Abu Dhabi, this time for Division 2, as they attempt to navigate this slightly changed circuit that has started to provide some really close racing indeed. And with a grid like this tonight, it looks like we're in store for a really solid race. My name is Revengezilla, and tonight I'm joined in the commentary box for the first time by Diamond Douchey. How are you, my friend?
Hello. Good to be on comms. Should be an exciting race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a few drivers have started to come out onto the track then, no surprise with the weather, it looks like we'll be in for another dry race tonight. But with a full grid tonight, it's definitely going to be competitive from Q1. The first man that's going to come round then to have a go at the circuit is going to be LWS Yorkie, as we let the viewers watch on board with the Alpine driver who's doing quite well in the championship. Just talk us through, Diamond, of the difficult aspects of this circuit that do make it so challenging.
The corner that he's on now, turns 2 and 3, they can be quite harsh on the rear of the car. I noticed yesterday that it's very easy to spin out of those two corners, and of the tight corners of Sector 3 do make this circuit quite a challenge. Circuit changes have definitely made it a lot easier to race around, better overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, as Nigel Piggle then does exactly what I did last night and spins into the pit lane and gets disqualified. So that's not ideal. And Adrian has then been given a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with that Haas. So, yeah, nice little bit of drama already. But we'll just jump back to what you said there about turns 2 and 3. When you spoke about it being particularly difficult on the rear tyres, and yeah, I have to agree. It's definitely one where you want to keep your foot down on the throttle as much as possible to get maximum amount of time. But yeah, it's definitely one. I think in qualifying, when you're on a low fuel load and high tyre temps, it's difficult to get right. So then, as you said, Yorkie has invalidated his first time then, and it looks like he is going to have just enough battery to maybe give it another go. But we have our first lap on the board then. It's El Plan who's making his debut in TTL tonight then, covering for the Alfa Romeo. And we've got a few new drivers tonight, Diamond, so did you want to introduce those for us?
Yeah. So obviously we've got El Plan. We've also got Prince Pasha. The other one.
I believe it's just them two tonight.
I think it is just them two.
New drivers.
Prince Pasha. Yeah. As Jarvis goes fastest.
Yeah, that's something that nobody has ever said, but here in TTL we've experienced Jarvis P1 in a qualifying session. Just what sort of times can we expect to make you safe in this Q1 session, Diamond?
I would say you are quite safe with a low 1 minute 24s, but I know there are quite a lot of fast drivers in this division, so it does vary, and I know the track does ramp up very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think for a banker time, especially for the reserve Alpine driver of Jarvis. I think that's a very solid time to begin the qualifying session, and you'd like to think that should potentially see him through safely into Q2.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah, we'll have a quick little look at the championship, Diamond. Our championship leader, Viking Beast, in the AlphaTauri is actually absent tonight, so that means that our championship contenders in Aspenio will definitely look to make up some ground. Unfortunately, our third place man, Balente, is also not here, and our fourth place man, Borley, is now in Division 1. So it's starting to become a little bit of a two-horse race out in front, and Aspenio really has a chance here to make up some ground on his championship rival. And do you think, on paper, do you think Aspenio's got the pace today to get onto the podium?
Yeah, I do. I think he definitely has the pace to be top 3. It's a really good opportunity for him. Viking Beast is rapid, so he will be up there all season. So this is definitely an opportunity for Aspenio to catch up to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about our newcomer Pasha, and we were just going to hop on board with him for his first flying lap, but it looks like he has succumbed to turn number 3. And, also further up the track, we've got Marsbar having a little bit of trouble at Latifi corner. Oh, as Darth Grey Fox then has just speared straight into the back of Big Maxwell. I didn't quite catch that on stream, but I caught the aftermath of it, and that's resulted in a 5-place grid penalty then for Maxwell. So it's all drama in this first quali session.
Yeah, it's very harsh on Maxwell, but the game's perfect and knows exactly what it's doing.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the clip of that when it inevitably comes in. But further up the road then, we've got CTX, who's jumped up into P3 then with a 25.0, and that puts him, still nearly 9/10 off Jarvis, who's head and shoulders above the rest at the minute.
It is a stonking lap. It's not something I'd actually expect from him, but he's pulled it out of the bag.
I'm not too sure. I think I think I struggled to get into the 123s last night, so it's an unbelievable lap for a first lap in Q1, and Jarvis has really put the pressure on the guys behind. We've still got 5 drivers, Diamond, yet to set a lap, and one of them is the Lapio Finn.
Yeah, he's just set a purple sector 1. I don't know if that's true, but he must be going fast if the game thinks it's purple. He's looking very neat through sector 3. Oh, as he spins.
We've jinxed him. We're moving on. moving on. Oh Christ! Right, one driver who's invalidated his first run, but has decided to.
I'm not good. Is disqualified.
Oh dear. Anyway, yep. So one driver who invalidated his first run, but is back out on the track now on a scrubbed set of those soft compound tyres. It's LWS Yorkie who's going to look to make some inroads in the championship here, because he started off really, really strong at the start of the season, but has just tapered off with a lot of unlucky incidents in multiple races. But this is a good chance with some absentees in the top of the standings to really make some inroads, as he's going to come across the line now and finish his first lap, and it's only going to be a 25.4, so really emphasising the pace that Jarvis has got at the start of this session.
Yeah, Jarvis has obviously got a lot of pace, but I do think Yorkie's got more to give. He is on a scrub set, and he did run out of deployment at the end of that lap, so I do think there is more time in Yorkie.
While you say that, Pasha then, on his second lap of the tyres, jumps up to a 24.8, and that puts him at P2 at the moment. And just look how close it is, Diamond, between second and 8th. Just about 3/10 in there, and so there's a lot of drivers that are similar on pace, and it's the timing screens are really skewed by Jarvis's his lap. Although Jarvis is not quite comfortable with his lap because he's on an out lap. He's come out again on a scrub set.
I'm not sure that I'd have come out again, but he obviously doesn't feel too safe. I don't know whether he wants more running, but I'd have thought he'd be fine with that 24-1.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat then. As Nigel Piggle saying that we must get our best comms voices ready because he's about to witness a Brazil 2021. That doesn't sound ideal. I'm now decent in the chat saying, well, that's great. Well, don't drive the wrong way, my friend, and you won't get disqualified. Yeah, big drama already with plenty of drivers having either grid penalty. Well, we've got 2 grid penalties and 2 disqualifications so far, which doesn't really bode well. But we've got Darth Grey Fox, the only driver yet to set a time, and with 7 minutes to go, you know, the pressure starts to mount a little bit for those guys in the bottom 5.
Oh, as Darth Grey Fox has just invalidated his lap.
It's not ideal, is it?
Yeah, no, he's going to be feeling the pressure now. He's got some pace in that Red Bull if he can just find the lap. As he's just hit the wall. Stop talking.
Yeah, we'll just every time we talk about someone, we'll not go on. But oh my lord!
Oh dear.
Darth Grey Fox sat on the racing line right in front of Gopher. As Gopher was trying to start a lap there, and he's had to back out of that one as there was a Red Bull on the apex.
Also had a spin. The Red Bull's not having a great time.
Yeah, Darth Grey Fox was just sat on the apex of turn number 3, which is not where you want a slow car to be sat. And,
not ideal.
Sure we will see. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see that clip again in the stewards' report. But one driver we've not talked about yet is Jimmy Dog, and he's about to start a lap, Diamond. So talk us through this lap with Jimmy Dog.
Yeah, so he's through into turn 1. He's coming up to turn 2 now. Let's see if he can keep it on the track. He does. He navigates turn 2 and 3 nicely. A little bit of a wobble on the exit, but he should be fine. He is 1/10 up on his sector 1 time, so he is going to improve so far. Let's see what kind of straight line speed he's getting, to see what kind of wings he's running. He does seem to be running lower wings, as he's getting 200 mile an hour plus. He's definitely running full. Bit late on his DRS deployment then. But this new, he is 2/10 up going into the new section. It's a lovely corner that now. It's so much better than it used to be. Going into the tricky section of sector 3, misses the apex on that corner. And he's a bit wide on that one, lucky not to invalidate. It's not looking like the best sector 3 for him as he goes wide again. Round the final corner to the finish line, and it's down by 4/10. That was
I'll be honest, that is one of the clumsiest laps I've ever seen in all my life. Good lord, Jim! I know Jimmy Dog's his wheel is broken, and he's actually on the pad tonight, so we'll bear with him. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but my lord, that was clumsy. As yeah, one driver who's in a little bit of trouble there. We talked about Gopher and how he got blocked by Darth Grey Fox on his previous hot lap. So he's come straight back into the pits, and I think he's going to put a fresh set on and come back out. I think the P15 time at the minute is a 26.2, so we're going to have to see some big improvements from the 3 remaining drivers in the drop zone if they're going to make any inroads. But the Lapio Fin has just come across the line then for a 27.3. And he's going to go for another push lap, Diamond, but I don't quite think he's got the ERS for it.
No, I would definitely be using this as a cool down lap, unless he's pushing hard to get back into the pits and get another set on. I'm not sure. I don't quite get why he's pushing on this lap. He's turned his ERS off now? No, he hasn't. Not a clue.
Yep, Yorkie then up into P2. He's just set at 24.5, and it's still 4/10 off of Jarvis, who's with his banker time looking really, really strong, and he's
out on track,
putting a load of laps into one set of soft tyres. Oh wow, okay.
That
was Big Maxwell on a hot lap, who's had to bail out.
That's a common sight with Jarvis. Move on from that, I suppose. I'm sure that'll get put into the stewards.
Good God, we'll be seeing that again later. God, I don't know who these two stewards are, but they've got their work cut out tonight.
I don't envy him.
Well then, looking at the times down the bottom of the order then, we've got Gopher in 15th on a 25.8. Can you see either of the bottom three putting a challenge with 2 minutes to go?
It's going to have to be a big improvement from them. I would think that Darth Grey Fox could be up there, and the Lapio Finn definitely has the pace to go faster than a 25.8. I don't want to be negative towards Jimmy Dog, but I'm not so sure. But I do hope he can push Gopher to try and get out of the bottom five.
Yeah, we definitely want to see Jimmy Dog, through into Q2. But I think if he sets any more laps previous, or one similar to the previous we've just had, then then it
Jarvis.
would definitely be a struggle. Oh dear, he's binned it.
Oh dear.
Oh dearie me.
Well, that's not ideal.
Where is he? Where's his car?
He's lost it out of the tight chicane.
Is it the final corner? Because I couldn't see his car in the...
I don't know. He might have done, I think he's lost... That's a difficult place to lose it if he's done it there. It's like a lot of skill, or lack of. I don't know. Very odd place to lose it. After singing his praises all session, he's gone and lost it on the 30 seconds to go.
That is why I'm a big advocate for if you're crashed out, or if you're guaranteed to go through, don't come back out on the track.
Yeah. Don't know what to add to that. He's had a mare.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare.
The Lapio Finn's not improved, and he is out.
Yeah, Gopher's struggled on his hot lap.
And same with Jimmy Dog.
Yeah, I believe this is going to be Gopher through then. Oh dear. So Darth Grey Fox is set at 25.854, which is 7 thousandths of a second faster than Gopher. So Gopher needs an improvement of 7 thousandths of a second with no ERS left in the tank if he wants to get through to Q2.
It's not looking like an ideal situation. I think Darth Grey Fox might just have it in the bag here.
Yeah, we'll go on board with Gopher through the final sector then, and it needs to be inch perfect because he's got no ERS to help him gain any time at all. As he comes round the final two corners then, it all looks pretty neat and tidy. If he gets on the power nice and early, he's definitely got a chance here. It's going to be a 25.7, and he just improved them by 1/10.5, and Darth Grey Fox and his monumental effort has been disregarded, and he is out in Q1, which means we're going to have a 14-man lineup then for the next qualifying session. What a lap then from Gopher right at the death.
Yeah, I wasn't sure he was going to get it done, but he had a very, very tidy sector 3, and it was able to see him through. It was very nicely done.
Yep, as we wait then for Air Max to get wheeled into his pit garage before we can call an end to Q2 then. And as we see straight away, two drivers there with 5 place grid penalties, we will see how they affect the starting order come the end of the race. So, we've now got 6 drivers eliminated from Q1 after Jarvis crashed right at the end after setting the fastest time in the session. So it's an absolute nightmare for the Alpine fill-in. But that is our finishing order then, and it is advantage Lewis Yorkie going into the next session. As we look forward now then to Q2, as I have to interrupt myself because MK Dons have just gone 1-0 up against Walsall in the 68th minute. Surely we're not bound to win a game, albeit it is not a league game because we cannot win in the league. Anyway, back to the racing. Do you think it is advantage Lewis Yorkie, and do you think there's anyone on this grid that can challenge him for pole position today?
I do think Yorkie is definitely a massive contender for pole position, but I wouldn't count out Espenio and Adrian, as they have a lot of pace behind them. I could definitely see them challenging Yorkie at the top.
I've got to read out a bit of inside information, a bit of a conspiracy theory that I'm seeing.
Okay.
So there are rumours that Object Fungus is playing on Jarvis's account, and this is where his magic pace has come from.
That wouldn't shock me, but
there are a lot of people in both the Discord and the chat that struggle to believe that Jarvis can do a 24-1.
Honestly, it is hard to believe. He's done it, but then he did a very Jarvis thing of been in it. We had the fastest lap anyway.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So
maybe he took the controller back at that point.
Have we got any thoughts in the chat, ladies and gents? Do we think Jarvis was in control of the car, or do we think Object Fungus was in control of the car? We definitely know Jarvis was in control of the car when it was out on 4-lap old tyres and crashed when having the fastest lap of the session. Well then, as we come to start the session, it looks like it is going to be the Alfa Romeo then of El Plan 33 on his debut, who is going to start us off in Q2. So do you want to take us through this lap, Diamond?
Yeah, hopefully I don't jinx him. As he's coming around the final corner to start
That's a jinx
his
in
lap.
itself.
Takes us into turn 1 very nicely. See if he can keep it on the track for turn 2 and 3. It's a very difficult section. He does it very nicely. It's a very neat sector 1. He sets a 17.7, which is not too bad. Doesn't go too wide on the hairpin, but it's still wider line can be faster. It's see that in places like Zandvoort, and it is the same here. The wider line can give you a nice slingshot into the straight. Very squirrely through the chicane. He manages to keep it, but he's backed out. Every time I follow someone.
Yeah, he's backed off of this one, and he is going to let the faster drivers through then. The first of those drivers is going to be LWS Yorkie. Yeah, he's going to come round into the final sector, and we've not got a decent idea of how he did in the first and second, but he looks to be putting maximum push into this lap, as he's experiencing a little bit of understeer, getting the line a little bit wrong through the double left-hander, but he's going to set himself up nicely to understeer once again at the first of the right-handers, but actually hook up the apex really nicely at the final corner. And he's going to come across the line and set a 25.6, which is not his best time, we know that for sure, as Mini makes a slight improvement, and Ashi comes across the line then to go P1, just ahead of his good friend CTX. So both drivers then into the 124s, as CTX has a spin then at turn 1 on the inside curb, Pasha setting the fastest lap time.
Ooh.
Oh my lord, CTX, that was shambolic.
That was not great.
Yeah, Air Max has just been two-footed. CTX, that was appalling.
Yeah.
That was... Oh my god, when will they learn? Right then, as Espenio comes on to start his lap, and we'll pay attention to him as he is our championship contender, and he needs to have a very solid race tonight, as he has a very steady first sector, and he's going to look to get a good exit round turn number 5 and set himself up nicely down the back straight towards turn 6 and 7. As we talked about the wing setup, and he's in excess of 204 miles an hour there, so he's definitely running a fairly low wing setup, which is going to benefit him come the race with making overtakes, but it's also going to hinder a bit of that tyre wear and the overheating in the longer high-speed corners, such as turn number 9 here. As you can see, tends to understeer out quite wide, has to let off the throttle mid-corner. And Espenio is going to make his way now into Sector 3. And this is the tight and twisty section where it's all about how much temperature you've got in your tyres. And it looks like Espenio's got a little bit too much temperature, Diamond, as he goes round.
Yeah. We are Curse Central tonight. Every time we follow someone this bit round. But tyre temp is very difficult around this track. They do get very high, and it makes the rear end of the car very loose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is one of the circuits where you'd like to run really, really low tyre pressures in order to keep those tyre temperatures in check. Because just the slightest bit of overheating, especially in the rears round here, can make it big trouble for turns 2 and 3.
Adrian's on a lap now.
Yeah, I was about to say, have we got anyone on the lap? It looks like...
He's got 17.5 in the first sector. He's gone quicker than the people that we have seen.
Yeah, we'll see how Adrian can do then at turns 6 and 7. Looks like he hooks up the apex nicely on the left-hander, really gets the car turned, and he's struggling a little bit at the low speed, and the back end wants to step out, but he manages to just about keep his lap valid, and the car pointing the right way. As what?
What?
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
I don't know what I was seeing there. Just decided to drive off the track on a straight. But yeah, so we've got 3 drivers then yet to set a time, and it looks like our boundary for getting into the next session is going to be a 25.8 then from Law. So it looks like the bottom 4 have got plenty of improving to do if they want to take any further part in this qualifying session. It looks like we've got 7 minutes left. And fairly bunched up midfield with about half a tenth separating 4th through 7th. And Lewis Yorkie is out again, ready to improve on that time.
It's very close in the midfield. I do think that anyone from possibly Yorkie down need to come out again. As we have got very fast drivers in the bottom 4. Bottom 5, rather.
Yeah, as you said, they're definitely 4 of the faster drivers in the tier. And we know AIM-RX got very, very unlucky on his first flying run, as he was
completely
absolutely
battered.
shafted by TTX. So we'll see what he can do on his second attempt. It looks like he's put a fresh set of tyres on, so we're really going to see what pace the Williams driver has at hand. One driver in the bottom 4 who is on a lap, not on an outlap, is Plixty, and he's coming into the 3rd sector now. And it looks like from the sector times, this is a fairly decent lap, but it looks like he's got a little bit of overheating on the front tyres as he's struggling to get the car turned into the corner. But we'll see what he's got left for turns 13 and 14.
Oh, what
as
a
he
lap
comes around the
from
final
Yorkie.
corner to follow Yorkie's time. And it looks like he's going to go P2 then, just about by 3 thousandths in front of Pasha. But we'll rewind a little bit as off screen, LWS Yorkie sets a 23.9 on his second run and goes provisional P1 then, and really takes the bull by the horns and takes claim to this qualifying session, as that now leaves him, 7.5 tenths, or 8.5 tenths, sorry, in the lead. And it looks like Espenio then is going to respond, and Espenio is showing on screen as a purple second sector. And I think, Diamond, if we talk about second sectors and people setting faster times there, do you think it's more down to the setup? If you've got a lower setup, that you're going to be faster in that section, seeing as it is predominantly one chicane and a couple of straights?
Yeah, I definitely think that if you are going fastest in sector 2, as Espenio does, a 24.6 puts him in second. If you are setting fast sector 2, it does indicate you are running lower wings, which I do think is more beneficial on this track, seeing that half of it now is basically a straight line, barring a chicane. But it does leave you very compromised into sector 3. Yeah.
And that lap then from AMRX, not enough to propel him into the top 10, as he's still missing about a tenth of a second to get in front of Marsbar, as Adrian then has binned it at turn 2. And he has a 5-place grid penalty for the race. That is disaster for Adrian, and he is going to be, he's going to be right at the back of the pack. Well then, it looks like AMRX is going for a second push lap, but he's got no ERS remaining, and I'm not sure if he's intending to get himself back to the pit lane as fast as possible to come out for another lap.
Ooh. It's very close to hitting the wall then.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Diamond, I am desperate for a wee. I'm going to leave Big Maxwell on the screen, and you can talk some bollocks to the stream about Maxwell on his lap.
Lovely, okay. And Maxwell is going to have to set at least a 24.9 to get into Q3. I do believe he has got the pace in him. It's whether he can hook the lap up. He's coming round into the final corner to start his flying lap now. Let's see what Maxwell can pull out of the bag. Oh, as he goes wide into turn 1, that's not ideal start, but he does take turn 2 and 3 very nicely. And he does set a 17.9 in the first sector. He is down on his time. It takes the hairpin very nicely to set himself up now for the straight. This part of the lap is all going to be about the setup, and if you've got the straight line speed, go into the chicane, takes it nicely, very nice on the exit, keeps it very neat. It's looking like a decent lap so far from Big Maxwell. He is 3 tenths up on his time now, so he's gained a lot through sector 2. Does go a little bit wide through that corner, but it does seem to be okay. Going now into the tricky part of sector 3, picking his braking points very nicely, very neat, as just a little bit too wide and invalidate his lap. I'm the biggest curse Now, I can't tell if he's got enough time to go for another lap as there's yellow flags.
Oh, I've just come back to see him validated right at the end.
Oh,
No.
it was a nice lap as well. It was just off.
Yeah. One driver then who is out on an out lap, I believe, is at least I think he's on an out lap. I hope he's not on a hot lap because Mini's not turned his ERS on and he's got 30 seconds to make his way around, which I'm sure is not happening. So if this is his hot lap, he's forgotten to turn his battery on.
I'm hoping this
He's
is
10
intentional.
seconds down
I don't
on the
see
delta.
why it would be.
Yeah, Mini then is going to be out of qualifying, and with Maxwell, we'll go
Maxwell
on board
will
with
be
him
out as
now.
well.
Is it? Yeah, it doesn't look like Maxwell has got anything left in the locker to make any improvements. So it looks like we're going to have a 9-car battle for pole today, as Marsbar is going to scrape through by less than 100th of a second. As Maxwell comes across the line then, and it's just not improving. If he'd have had some battery, that definitely would have been an improvement for Maxwell. So desperately unlucky, and he's going to start. Has he got a 5-place penalty as well? So I think him and Adrian are starting quite low down.
Yeah.
As Marsbar at the end, then we talked about how close it was for him getting through. But he does go quicker at the end. He sets a 24.8, so that puts him up to P6. So again, we talked about advantage Yorkie in Q1, but it's definitely advantage Yorkie now, as Gopher improves by 2.5 tenths and just solidifying his position in Q3. Yeah, he just scraped through to Q2, he's just scraped through to Q3, and Gopher is still alive then to fight another day, and it is going to be a double Mercedes appearance in Q3.
Yeah, one thing to take from Q2 is Adrian out as a big shock. It's something I did expect him to be in the top 3.
As we've got proof then that Object Fungus is is on FIFA and not on F1.
I don't know. He's just had to. He did leave the session and join back. Perhaps it was to swap back over.
Did you give Jarvis an invite back?
Yeah, he is back.
Is he back in the lobby? He is. Lovely. So then, this is your finishing order for Q2. And we have another 5 drivers eliminated then. Adrian, who crashed at turn number 2. Maxwell, who had that desperately unlucky invalidation that's cost him a Q3 place. And then we've got AMRX, who had a bit of drama early on, with CTX, who is also out. And then Mini, who misses out then by 0.3 of a second. Now, this is about our time diamond, where we ask our Twitch chat to give us a prediction for pole. If you say LWS Yorkie, you're boring. So give us some. Give us some underdogs,
something
guys.
interesting.
Yeah. Who thinks L Plan's going to be on pole?
No, I think Jarvis pole. Jimmy Dog thinks himself.
Jimmy Dog, if you were on pole, my friend, I'm sure Bidley would do a milk shoey early. Right then. Let's wait to see who comes out the pits first. And it looks like Pasha is wasting no time then. And he is straight out the garage.
As Yorkie is joining him as well.
Yeah, I know Yorkie likes to always come out the box really early at the start of sessions, but he's been beaten to it this time. There's maybe a little bit of mind games there from Pasha just to get that track position. Nigel Piggle says, Zilla, have you ever tried egg chup? Have you ever heard of egg chop?
Nope. I have no idea what that is.
It's got to be something Tory.
Oh, if Nigel knows about it, 100%.
Yeah, something he found in Mexico, I think. Nigel, if you could let us know. It's basically ketchup with egg yolks. What do you mean, egg yolks instead? Instead of what?
So it's egg yolk sauce.
Lapio Finn said, I'm sad there's no Champions League, so Zilla can't read out the scores. Well, my friend, there is EFL Trophy. Sorry, the Papa John's EFL Trophy, where MK Dons are 1-0 up away at Walsall. And with 5 minutes to go, if there's an equaliser, I will shut off the stream and go cry. Also, Liverpool under-21s are losing 1-0 to Accrington Stanley. So they are in the mud. Is there actually any decent football I can talk for this? Oh, there's Premier League games. So, they're both 0-0.
Yeah, they're both boring.
Well then, next week when the Champions League's back. Lapio Finter's up the Dons, absolutely, mate, absolutely. Silverside Boy saying good race yesterday, Zilla. Thank you, Gary. It was a boring one for me, but a good result nonetheless. We got Yorkie who managed to pass Pasha then on the outlap, and he is going to get the first go at setting a hot lap, and Pasha is maybe just a little bit too far away to get any benefit of the slipstream.
Yeah, I think he is just a little bit too far back. He would get a lot of benefit from it if he was a bit closer, but then you obviously run the risk of the driver in front of you making a mistake and ruining your lap. But it is a gamble worth taking if you can follow someone decent.
Yeah, and it looks to be a really clean lap from Yorkie so far, as he's now about to navigate the arena section. And he keeps the car nicely within the track limits then, as behind him Prince Pasha has dropped it on his lap, so it's advantage Yorkie off the start, and he's going to come across the line. Is he in the 123s? He's not. He's not quite been able to replicate his Q2 time, but he'll see what other drivers are able to do. We've got Gopher coming next, to about to start his lap, but next to finish a lap it's going to be Plixty, and he sets a 24.7 into a good lap time for him. Next across the line, El Plan 24.9, and Ashi then by 5 thousandths of a second misses out on provisional pole, as Law, the final of our drivers, just misses out then on P4. Spenio comes across the line then, and we have got a 1/10 of a second between our top three, so it's incredibly close. And the one driver yet to set a time who is still out on track is Gopher, so we'll just go on board with him now as he comes towards turn 6 and 7. He hits the apex nicely, and he's going to straighten the car up for the exit. And we will go on board with him now as he comes into the third sector. We'll just go back to the Twitch chat. Lapio Finn says go to Discord. Okay. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. Yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. Zilla, who's winning the league? What league? I assume you're on about the Premier League. If that's the case, City are going to win it. The video Jarvis sent. Okay, hold on, let me have a look. Oh, was there 2 Jarvis accounts there? 2 Jarvis accounts. Anyone got a conspiracy? Does anyone still believe that yeah, there's 2 accounts there called Jarvis. I'm not sure we can let that slide. Anyway, Gopher did come across the line then to set a 25.4, and it's the slowest of the times that we have so far. And the only other driver on track is his Mercedes teammate and stand-in for tonight, Prince Pasha. And he is on his outlap now. He had a little bit of trouble on his first run, getting a little bit too hot in the stadium section. And he's going to give another attempt to this Mercedes car with just under 6 minutes remaining then. And we'll wait and see when everyone else decides to come out the pits.
Yeah, this certainly seems like a session where Yorkie has everything to lose. He does seem to be the man on form and the popular vote for pole at the moment, but Ashy is keeping him very close.
Yeah, I think we saw Yorkie managed a 23.9, was it?
Yeah.
In the previous session. So we'll wait and see if he can replicate that time in this Q3 session. We've got a couple of drivers out on their outlap, but Prince Pasha is on a hot lap then. It was a relatively tidy Sector 1, and these DRS and ERS open down in towards turn 6 and 7, where he navigates that nicely. You want to avoid that inside curb if possible, because it's really going to throw the rear end of the car off if you are on throttle. And he takes a really narrow line then, which I like to avoid, because I feel like there's a big dip on the left hand side that your car can bottom out at. But it looks really solid from Pasha so far. He sets a purple Sector 2, so it's looking promising as he navigates the section that was so difficult for him on his first run. And he's got to be careful not to get on the throttle too early, because there's a lot of steering lock on that second left-hander, and he's taken that very careful indeed as he comes around the final corner then. And we'll see where this leaves him in comparison. It's just a bit off the pace then. It puts him P5, and maybe he might have a chance to get back into the pits to put a fresh set on, but it's going to be a big ask, as it looks like El Plan then had a little bit of trouble at turn 1, so he's going to back out of his lap and aim to go round again, as there's 3 minutes 40 left in the session. Plixty is the next driver then on a lap, and we're going to go on board with him as he aims to finish Sector 1 with a purple sector. It's not quite, he's a 10th down on his time. Ashy has just exited the pit lane, as Plixty has called it a day on that lap. He's going to look to cool his tyres down and rebuild a little bit of that ERS and go again. Do you like Ashy's strategy here to go out a little bit earlier, Diamond? I assume he wants to have a little bit of cover in case he invalidates.
Yeah, if you're not confident on getting that one lap pace done without any problems, then it's definitely better to get banker on the time. It's not something that I like to do personally. I think the track is at its best if you are one of the last out on track, but it can work into Ash's favour, because he has that leeway with the time.
So then, let's go on board with Ashy. He needs to improve by 5 thousandths of a second if he wants to move in front of LWS Yorkie. So we'll see what he can do, as it's going to be maximum attack, because he also needs to think about the drivers behind. Maximum attack also means in the wall, so that is going to be Ashy out of the running then for pole position today. One driver who still is in the running is Espenio. He's on his outlap, and he is going to come round shortly to start his lap. So I believe this is Law coming round the final corner. It is. Law is going to improve then by half a second, but it's just about missing out on P4. So look how close that is between P4 and 7. As Gopher is also on an outlap then. He just about made it through Q1, just about made it through Q2, and now he's going to give it a go to see if he can propel himself up the order. as it looks like El Plan had a bit of a spin as he gets out of the way of Marsbar, who comes round the final 2 corners to finish his lap. A little bit of understeer at the apex, and it means that he's going to lose a little bit of time. It only puts him P8. So within 3/10 of a second, you can go from P4 to P8. I'm not sure if anyone's going to be challenging LWS Yorkie here, Diamond.
Mars has had a spin into turn 2. Luckily there's no one around him, so he's not going to get in anybody's way, but it's proving a real challenge for these drivers.
Mars Bar in the chat saying hashtag ban Jarvis.
Could not agree more.
Oh dear.
Prince Pasha has left it very late. He is
Is
going
he
to
get
get.
round then?
He is going to get the best of track conditions.
Has he had to heat his tyres up though too much to get round to make the lap? LWS Yorkie then is going to also come across the line to start his lap. It was very touch and go as to whether he was going to make it. He understeers a little bit at turn 1, and that's already put him on the back foot as a Spenio's round. He's had to stay still on the track. He's going to be really lucky not to get disqualified here, but safely indeed he manages to get going again. Ashi is invalidated then, as Spenio has had issues, so at the minute it's advantage LWS Yorkie, and it really is only going to be Pasha or Plixty with an opportunity to put some pressure on the Alpine driver. He's led every quali session so far. Plixty is not going to be there to do it. Marsbar is not going to be there to do it. So it looks like Pasha is the only one in with a chance of making an improvement. He's 3.5 tenths up on his time, and he sets a purple sector 2. So if anyone can make the improvements and put in a bid for pole position, it is going to be the stand-in Mercedes driver as he navigates then the hotel section very nicely indeed. Doesn't get on the power too early like we've seen from him before, and it is going to be maximum attack into the final corner. Do we think he's got enough, Diamond?
Oh, not quite.
He just misses out, and it's only P4.
It was a very good opportunity for him. Yorkie did invalidate his last lap.
Yeah, as Spenio is going to come across the line then. And that's the end of the qualifying session, so he leads every qualifying session and takes pole position. It is LWS Yorkie on pole, and he is going to be hot on the heels from Ashi in the Ferrari, who had a little bit of trouble at the end. Spenio also having a spin and a bit of trouble on that final run, and Pasha, who managed to make an improvement of 3 tenths, but it was only enough for P4. But what a qualifying session that was, Diamond. Really close throughout at the front, and the pole time separated them by 5 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, it was very close between the top 4 drivers. It should be a very good close race between them, and with Adrian coming up from the back, it should be very interesting.
Yeah, right then. Hopefully nobody readies up.
God, please, no. Nobody ready up.
So let's head towards the race now then, Diamond. Strategy-wise, do we think it's just going to be a mixture of mediums and hards here for starting tyres, or do we think anyone is going to have a look at that soft tyre in order to make up some positions early on?
I would have thought it would be a mixture of medium to hards. The soft die very quickly around this track. The tyre deg is not good for the softs at all. I think the most some people were managing last night was 4 to 5 laps before the softs were just done. Yeah, I can't really see any advantage to running the softs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see anyone that does try the softs, struggle a little bit initially, and those tyres will then die out pretty promptly. I think tyre temperatures are pretty key around this circuit, more so than others, and keeping tyres within a decent temperature window is going to be one of the only things keeping you out the wall at this circuit. And luckily we've not had anyone ready up early, which is nice. So unfortunately, I'm not sure if you're aware of the glitch, Diamond, but do not go on the race director whilst you are spectating.
Yes, I was aware. I was avoiding it.
Because you get stuck on there, and then it is an absolute nightmare to get back in. Oh dear. So I've just looked at the Discord. Piggle is sat in the P18 grid slot when he's P20 on the grid.
It wasn't there 2 disqualifications though. I'm not sure.
We'll wait and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't end up in a big mess.
Yeah, as Nigel Piggle says, great game. Couldn't agree more. It's completely perfect.
Right then, as we wait for our drivers to ready up. Plenty of action in the chat at the minute.
Oh, as we have got the timer going down now.
So then, what do we think predictions wise? What tyres are we going to see on these drivers? I expect a lot of people outside the top 10 to give the hards a go off the start. I know from personal experience the hards yesterday were pretty good from the early laps. So, and obviously definitely the better race tyre of the two.
Yeah, and there is a definite advantage to starting on the hards, as when you put them on in the in your second stint, they are very difficult to warm up.
So we see a couple of drivers then selecting the softs. It's going to be Jimmy Dog and I'm Now Decent. So the Alpha Tauris are going both
aggressive.
The same strategy on the softs. Yeah, that's not exactly music to my ears.
And they put on the hards, and it is Jarvis.
It's King Jarvis who sticks on the hard compound tyres, and surprisingly everybody else selecting the mediums. So then, yeah, we have got Nigel Piggle at the back of the field, and he is actually P18. I hope this lobby is not glitched, as he goes to make some overtakes now. By the looks of it, he wants to get back into the 18th slot, which he does. So it's going to be him and Adrian side by side on the grid, which is never good.
That spells trouble. Hopefully they keep it clean.
Yeah. It's definitely trouble. As I'm currently on the FIFA web app, and I've just got the rewards of a mega pack, so we're going to open that. I got fuck all.
What a shock.
Oh, I didn't get fuck all. Yeah, it's untradeable, but I've got Robertone, the rule breaker card.
Very nice.
It's untradeable, and I'm never going to use it. But nonetheless,
it's a rule breaker. We take it.
It is a rule breaker. We take those.
Yorkie's got a big gap between him and Ashy at the moment.
No, Ashy the fraud, not catching up to the leader.
Not ideal for Yorkies. He's going to be sat there for a good while waiting for the other drivers to line up. How many are going to get disqualified for the grid slot, though?
Yeah.
So
Not
we've
many
got
so
the
far.
first
We've got
one.
Mars Bar. Oh, of course, Darth Grey Fox. And we have got a
Jimmy
long
Dog,
wait here.
yes.
Nigel Piggles in the pit lane. And I'm Now Decent is going to come round to take up the final grid position then. He really is taking the mick here.
Ashley has got a very aggressive starting position, pointing his car straight at Yorkie.
What is that grid position from I'm Now Decent? Oh my lord. Right then. 5 red lights. It looks like Ashy is really angled to the right, as you said, Diamond, and it looks like he's not going to get the better start out the 2 as Yorkie then takes the lead of the race, and it looks like El Plan is going to have a look up the inside. He has to cut the corner slightly to avoid contact from Espenio. We've got contact in the background.
Oh, it's a mess.
It's Air Max who's round. Plixty was the car that was sideways, and I think he was just collected. So we're going to see there is a virtual safety car out straight away. Plixty then getting a 5-second time penalty for a collision with I'm Now Decent. We've got a little bit of trouble in the background with Adrian. I'm not really sure what's going on. Adrian's got no front wing.
He did get tangled. I don't know who it was with off the start line. And I think he got told that he needed to give a position back, but the car behind just didn't let him.
Yep. So then Jimmy Dog on the softs. He's up 5 positions. He's into P11 and he's going to look to get on the back of Darth Grey Fox. If we look at other drivers that have made up places, we've got Mini, CTX and Gopher all up 2 positions. They've made an excellent start. And on the other hand, we've got Pasha down 2 places. He really struggled at the start and got a little bit of trouble, as I think they've all slammed on the brakes as the safety car is going to come in. Is anyone going to mess up and get a drive-through?
Yeah.
There's always one.
Yeah, it was me yesterday and it's Ashy
He's
today.
done a diamond. As he gets a drive-through then, is he going to look to serve it straight away? Yes, he is.
Pitch, yeah.
That is an absolute nightmare for the Ferrari driver, and it now means that Yorkie has got the lead of about 1.5 seconds out in front. So Espenio, El Plan and Law then have got to work together if they want to close that gap. And CTX is the driver that is on the move. He's up 3 positions and he's looking to put Gopher under a little bit of pressure. This is going to potentially look to go up the inside. He's going to look to go up the inside like Verstappen did on Hamilton at the final race of last season.
Had issues
and
with
he gets the move done.
Nigel and Jarvis.
Nigel and Jarvis, that's 2 drivers who you would... as they've had more contact.
Oh dear.
Jarvis is on a demolition job by the looks of it, and CTX then we'll go further forward. CTX then makes the move on Gopher. Gopher looks to the switchback, but just about gets cut off, and that's going to give Darth Grey Fox then an opportunity to close down the Haas driver in front. Gopher's going to shape to the inside just to try and potentially put CTX offline, but CTX isn't going to call the bluff, and he is going to keep in front. As Mini then
we've got Mini round.
Spins round. Luckily he's got enough of a gap to get himself back on the racing line without impeding anybody else. So I'm Now Decent up 8 positions.
He's had a very good start.
A very solid start. Yeah, there's a 7-second gap though between 11th and 10th, which means that it's our points-paying positions have definitely made a breakaway. And up in front, Yorkie has pulled a gap then of 2 seconds to Espenio, and it looks like El Plan has had enough of waiting, and the DRS is active this lap. So we'll see if El Plan looks to make a move. I'm not sure if he's going to give it a go here, Diamond.
I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough. It's not ideal to...
Mini's out.
Mini's
We've got the virtual safety car again.
I was about to say it's not ideal to overtake in the first DRS zone. It's more beneficial to get close and then try and go for it in the second.
Yeah, will this virtual safety car then stay out long enough for some drivers to benefit from a pit stop, do we think?
Maxwell has
I
come
think there's
in.
a good chance. Yeah, I think it'll be a good chance that a lot of our drivers won't quite have reached the pit lane by the time it decides to come in. We are going to go on board with El Plan. Unfortunately for El Plan, that virtual safety car came out just when he had an opportunity to open the DRS behind Espenio. But for now, he will need to tuck in behind the McLaren driver and wait for another opportunity.
Be interesting to see if Jimmy Dog or I'm now decent rather come into the pits to try and swap off the softs. As Jimmy Dog doesn't.
Right, there's a very long virtual safety car.
I'm not decent is in pits.
A very long virtual safety car, good lord.
Oh,
Jimmy Dog.
there's another one.
Jimmy Dog.
He should have pitted.
Well, as the DRS then is going to be active again straight away, and it looks like both El Plan and Pasha are going to be putting the drivers in under pressure. But Espenio looks like he's got lots of straight line speed. He wasn't really under pressure at all there from El Plan. Pasha in behind looks like he's got a better exit out of turn number 7. And he's going to look to put Law under pressure. Law is going to use a bit of that battery. Pasha up at 95% and Law down at 49%. But Law running really, really wide there. And he's going to take a wide sweeping line and potentially come back at the Mercedes driver. They make a little bit of contact on the exit, but they go side by side now into the third sector. And Pasha has to wait his turn. And just sitting behind the Alfa Romeo. Excuse me, and that's going to be really frustrating, Diamond, for this Mercedes driver, as he really wants to try and hang on to the back of the top 3.
Yeah, it's going to be compromising his race now. He does really need to get past Law sooner rather than later to try and challenge these top 3, as they've already pulled a 2-second gap on board at this point.
Yeah, Pasha then really, really close onto the back of Law, and he's not going to wait for the back straight. He's going to have a dive up the inside. Law very sportingly gave him the room, and Pasha just got on the power too early. And that means that he's initially lost the position, but he's going to use a load of that battery.
He's going to have CTX right behind them as well.
Yeah, Law's going to have a look then. And he's going to look to defend as Pasha tries to hang it around the outside. CTX is going to get a better exit than Pasha, and he's going to use a load of that battery, but Pasha gets a much better exit on the traction. CTX really struggling for traction there, and El Plan up in front is still struggling to get past Espenio. Espenio is really, really good on the straight line speed, but El Plan looks to get a switch back.
The back of Law.
Oh,
they're both
no.
round.
And Darth Grey Fox and Gopher just managing to avoid the collision there. And I see a bit of front wing on the floor. I'm not sure which driver that belongs to, but both of them managed to get going again, and that is desperately unlucky. But back to the action in front. It looks like we have got El Plan putting Espenio under pressure once again.
Oh my life, that was close. As the Alfa Romeo spun it on the last corner and nearly collected Jarvis with him.
Good lord. It was all going on. Right then, Nigel Piggle up in P9. He had a bit of trouble with Jarvis early on, and now he is right on the back of the Alpine driver once again. And yeah, you can guarantee that if Nigel Piggle... Oh, sorry, we'll just jump to Darth Grey Fox then, as he's going to have a look up the inside of Gopher. Gopher's going to give him enough room on the inside, but Darth Grey Fox going to look to get a better exit as he tags the back of the Mercedes. A little bit clumsy there, as El Plan up in front is not close enough. Nigel Piggle is going to make the dive then on Jarvis. Jarvis is just going to drive into the side of the Haas driver. Prince Pasha is going to have a look
Jarvis
on the
is coming
pair of them.
back.
Nigel Piggle gets a little bit of a swipe down the straight. Prince Pasha's going to have a look around the outside. He's going to use a bit more battery. And Nigel Piggle's going to hold it up the inside. Really good racing from the three of them as they're both stuck in behind the Alpine. And Nigel Piggle is going to have to wait for one more opportunity. And it looks like they're going to try and go side by side through the hotel section. Nigel Piggle getting really impatient now behind the Alpine. And the Alpine is really making life difficult. Nigel Piggle down on 5% ERS. And he is really getting flustered. In behind, up in front then we've got El Plan, who's going to potentially have a look at Espenio at the hairpin, but he's not, and he's going to get on the power really early, and it's going to force him wide on the exit. And Espenio's going to look to go defensive. It's in the background. Darth Grey Fox sends a move then on the hairpin. We've got moves happening all over the place. El Plan's not going to be close enough, but it looks like Gopher, neither of the drivers have the DRS.
And they must have crossed the detection point at the exact same time.
Yeah. So then, with the light flashing on Nigel Piggle's house car, it looks like Prince Pasha will more than likely be waiting to get a move done. But up in front, we've got El Plan, who hangs it round the outside of Espenio, and he finally gets that move done on lap number 7. It's taken him a good 5 laps then to get past the McLaren driver, and now that he's finally passed, he's got a 2.2 second gap to bridge to LWS Yorkie at the front. And I think Espenio's job here, Diamond, is just to tag onto the back of this Alfa Romeo, save a little bit of battery, and hope he can get dragged up to LWS Yorkie.
Yeah, having a fight now with El Plan is just going to hinder them both, and it's going to allow Yorkie to run off into the distance. They need to kind of work together now at this point.
I'll go for...
Oh, he's lost it on the last corner.
Oh, and he's going to rejoin right in front of Jarvis. Oh, Jarvis is going to dive in. Oh. Gopher's going to run slightly wide, and is he going to
Nigel tries to go through.
Oh my lord.
Oh, as we've also got a Williams round.
It's that Jarvis round. No, it's not. It's
the Lapio Finn.
Oh, the Lapio Finn. He was right in that battle there for P6, as Jarvis now up 7 positions. Nigel Piggle up 11.
Both have
Jarvis
very
was on
good
the
race.
hard tyres. Yeah, hard tyres, we'll point out. Pasha then, who was having a look on Piggle.
Great position.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about whether El Plan could bridge that gap to Yorkie, and it actually looks like Yorkie is extending the gap, and it's up to 2.7 now at the front. And it looks like Pasha is really reluctant to use any of his battery to get past Nigel Piggle. As he gets on the power a little bit early. Plixty avoids him. Gopher manages to make his way past, and that is the second incident we've seen today from Pasha. And he's really not having a good time on that long left-hander at the start of Sector 3. Notoriously difficult for traction, that corner. And now that leaves us with a slightly strung out order, as Adrian's going to have a look around the outside on the triple right-hander. What a move, and I'm Now Decent's going to leave him the space. And he's going to track extend a little bit to try and get a better exit. Adrian going to leave him a little bit of space on the outside. This is excellent racing for P12 on track. Adrian's going to run a little bit wide and get a corner cutting penalty, whilst up in front then Espenio is going to take that place back from El Plan, and that means that, you know, these two are still willing to have a little fight backwards and forwards.
They have closed the gap up to Yorkie on this lap.
They have, you're right. Gap now down at 2.2. We look at ERS levels, it's pretty even between the three of them. As it's not easy to tell who's got the advantage here, Diamond, and in terms of the second stint we have coming up. Obviously there's various factors such as safety cars that could really jostle up this order, as a lot of the medium runners now are starting to come into the box. We have Gopher, the Lapio Finn and Pasha all in the box that lap for the hard compound tyres. We do have a fan in the chat of I'm Now Decent. It's Wolfie53678 cheering on I'm Now Decent, so we'll give him a little bit of love on the stream as he chases down Adrian then, as they both make their way into the top 10 and into the points.
Nigel is into the pits.
Yeah. And it looks like he's not followed by Plixty then. Plixty is going to stay out one more lap. And I think, Diamond, this is slightly early for the medium runners. I know from experience last night, it's, you know, some drivers were doing up to 14 laps on the medium tyres. And lap 9 and lap 8 for a few drivers the previous lap is pretty early. And it's going to mean that the hard tyres at the end are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I can only think that he's got faith in his tyre preservation, that he's going to have enough tyres left at the end of the race, as I'm Now Decent has had a spin into... Ooh. Oh. And he was sat on the racing line.
Well done, Wolfie, you've jinxed I'm Now Decent big time. There's up in front, El Plan then, we just got on board with him as he loses the back end on the curbs in sector 3, and it looks like we've also had a little bit of an accident then with I'm Now Decent. I'm not really sure how he's ended up here.
No, I don't know.
And there's loads of front wing off, and I think he's had a collision with Gopher. Oh, Gopher's missing his front wing now as well.
Yeah, I don't quite know what's going on
Gopher spun, Ashy's running wide, Gopher's lost his front wing, I'm Now Decent is well and truly in the mud with no front wing. And we've also had a little bit of a spin. Is that Jarvis? It was Jarvis. Jarvis having a spin then, coming out of the final corner. That's more like it than what we come to expect from the Alpine driver. But nonetheless, even with that spin, he is 14 seconds away from P5, but he's very much holding his own in the sharp end of the points.
As Plixty has come in now, served his time penalty in the pits. Nigel is miles ahead of him.
And I'm not sure if you've noticed, Diamond, but Espenio is continuing to get that gap down to Yorkie, but El Plan is really struggling to keep pace with the McLaren. Definitely in the second half of this stint, it's advantage to Espenio as he's really putting the pressure now on LWS Yorkie, as both drivers will be thinking about the pit lane in the coming laps. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw either driver in the pit lane now, and it looks like LWS Yorkie is in the box then. Espenio is going to stay out, and El Plan is round. Oh. CTX is also going to come in the pits then. El Plan, what a disaster.
El Plan comes in as well, yeah.
I assume, yeah, with that he is going to be in the box, and that promotes CTX then up into the net podium places.
Dark
Grey Fox. Yeah, second on track. And it looks like, I'm not sure who that is coming out the pits, as I'm Now Decent is now a lap down. Desperately unlucky then. A lot of these drivers towards the rear end of the field are going to be hoping for a safety car. El Plan then comes out of the pits, and it looks like he is quite a way back on CTX, who's going to be his rival in this race. But CTX comes out on his cold hards, but he's right behind Jarvis, and if he can stick within the DRS, this is going to be really crucial for CTX's race.
Oh, as we've got a spin in turn 1. Not turn one,
shock,
turn
guess
2,
who it
and
is?
it is Adrian.
Yeah, and just in behind Adrian, we've got a little battle here for P11. It is Pasha against the Lapio Finn. Pasha, who's been a little bit in the wars this race in terms of incidents, but he has got a Williams car in front of him that is going to be easy pickings when the DRS is active, as he breezes by then and makes the move stick. Espenio is in the box. We'll see if Darth Grey Fox follows him, and he does. So that means that CTX needs to really get past Jarvis pretty quick if he's got any chance of getting onto the podium this race.
This is going to be close on pit
Espenio
exit.
comes out the box. Espenio's come out the box miles behind Lewis Yorkie. Absolutely miles behind. So what an undercut that's been for, or an overcut, sorry, from LWS Yorkie.
Yeah, it does seem to be quite strong
around
5.3.
So then CTX on the back of Jarvis. He's got the DRS open, but Jarvis might potentially get DRS from the McLaren in front. As it looks like, is that Gopher again?
Yeah, Gopher's
Gopher.
gone straight on in Sector 3.
Definitely strung out then at the front at the moment. LWS Yorkie with a 5.3 gap at the front. Jarvis pushing incredibly hard to try and get onto the back.
Another spin into turn 2 and it is Ashy.
Another. Good lord. A lot of the drivers then struggling with the tyre temperatures. A lot of, you know, solo incidents going on in this race, and it is a case of who can manage their tyres the best. Jarvis is just on that borderline of DRS then from Espenio, and this is going to be awful for CTX's race if Jarvis manages to get within the DRS. And it looks like, if we look at the Delta Diamond, it looks like he has got within the DRS, so CTX is going to be stuck behind the Alpine for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's not ideal for CTX. He does really need to be clearing Jarvis, as Espenio does not seem to be doing too well on these new hard tyres.
Nigel Piggle then having a look at Darth Grey Fox, neither with much ERS to work with. But Nigel Piggle's going to look to put Darth Grey Fox under a little bit of pressure. We have to say that Nigel Piggle, who got maximum points at the sprint race at Monza last week, has had a slightly underwhelming performance so far, hindered obviously by a disqualification in qualifying, as Ashy now retires in the pit lane and calls it a day. That leaves us then with 17 drivers. Oh, Espenio's had a bit of a problem.
He has.
He's run wide at the penultimate corner, and that's promoted Jarvis then up to P2. We've got an Alpine 1-2. And Jarvis now is going to be begging for a safety car. If a safety car comes out now, he is going to be well and truly in the mixer, as CTX then is promoted to a net P2. And if he can get past Jarvis here, he could potentially put a little bit of daylight between him and Espenio, and that could be crucial for the end of the race and the final results. We've got Wolfie in the chat asking, what does DNF mean? It means did not finish. So the two at the bottom will not finish, as it says on the tin. As Nigel Piggle then is going to look to make a move on Darth Grey Fox. He's going to dive it up the inside. Darth Grey Fox is going to leave the room. Nigel Piggle's going to hit the inside curb, and Darth Grey Fox is going to open up the door, give him a little bit of room and look for a switchback. Darth Grey Fox is going to get the DRS, and he's going to use a little bit of battery. Nigel Piggle is going to defend to the inside. Darth Grey Fox is going to look to the outside then. Has he got enough grip to hang it around the outside? It looks like Nigel Piggle has got more grip. Darth Grey Fox is going to run incredibly wide. He's going to keep the foot down. And Adrian gets another penalty.
He did have a spin in turn 2 again, as we were following Nigel and Darth Grey Fox.
Yeah, Jarvis is doing unbelievably well here. We got to give him a shout out. What a stint this has been. He's 15 laps deep now onto these hard compound tyres. Expect him to come in the next 2 laps or so. CTX has to catch a slide, and he's really having to push quite hard to get close to Jarvis, and Jarvis is just saving a little bit of battery, and he's conserving himself ready for what is going to have to be a mental last stint if he's got any chance of getting into the top 6.
Yeah, he's done very well on this first stint. A safety car right now would be absolutely beautiful for him. Give him props where it's due. He has done very well.
Wolfie, I know you're I know you're very active in the chat at the minute. If it's quite obvious that you like jinxing people, so if there's anyone that you would like to cause the safety car that Jarvis needs, just let us know who we need to go on board with.
DNF in the pit.
Yeah, CTX then, he's still stuck behind Jarvis. Jarvis is doing an excellent job of defending from the Aston Martin driver. And what this means is his teammate LWS Yorkie is getting clear daylight in front as Adrian's car is gonna
We've got
is gonna rejoin the race.
Mercedes round.
It's Gopher
Again.
Oh dear. Here comes Adrian's car.
Oh.
Let's hope it's not sitting exactly on the racing line. No, it does pull off to the right. CTX then gets a 3-second time penalty after running wide at turn 3. And Espenio is going to be very happy with that. We talked about how Espenio needs a decent result in this race if he wants to put the pressure on Viking Beast at the top of the championship, so a second place here would be absolutely wonderful then for the McLaren driver. CTX is going to have a little look down the inside, but he's going to decide against it, and he's going to look to get a better exit than the Alpine driver, who surely needs to be struggling for tyre grip now. But again, he gets the better exit out of turn number 7, Diamond, and CTX just can't get close.
Yeah, Jarvis, despite being on 16 lap old hards, he does seem to be getting really good grip out of these corners. And his straight line speed does seem to be a lot greater than CTX's.
Yeah, CTX then right on the back now. The gap is just 2/10. And it gets to a point where Jarvis gets a good exit onto the back straights to defend position. But now through this third sector, CTX is near enough pushing the Alpine round, and the Alpine stays out for another lap.
Ooh,
as he gets a wobble on the exit, and this is going to be CTX's opportunity to get by. Jarvis is actually going to hold it up the inside. He's going to use a little bit of battery.
He's definitely not one
CTX
to give up
even more.
position
CTX
easily.
is going to look for the switchback. Yeah, as he said, he's not going to want to give up this position because his teammate out in front is benefiting every lap that CTX is getting held up. And what this does mean is Espenio has managed to get himself back within the DRS of the two in front, and CTX has had to burn all of his battery. It now means he's got nothing to work with. He's got fresher tyres, but it looks like it's not making too much of a difference as Jarvis is doing a really, really solid job on the exits of turn number 7.
As I've noticed in the
CTX
Twitch chat, Wolfie has decided he's jinxing Jimmy Dog.
Oh well, I don't think you need to jinx Jimmy Dog. He normally does that for himself. I mean, is that him that was in the battle? It's not him. It's I'm Now Decent is in this battle for P2. And CTX then, he's going to look to use a bit of a battery. Surely he's not going to have a look at the inside here into the triple left. Oh, he is. Oh, and he tags Jarvis.
Nearly
and Espenio's had to avoid it. Oh, that's desperately unlucky for Jarvis then, as a little bit deep on the brakes. He gave the space to CTX, and CTX was a little bit too deep on the brakes.
Comes into the pits
and he
now,
keeps it going, but in the grand scheme of things,
it's a little bit naughty from CTX.
Jarvis was coming in the box anyway. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very unlucky then for Jarvis, but he's going to come in for the medium compound tyres, and he is going to be rapid in this final stint. He's got a long, long gap to build if he wants to get, even somewhat close to P6 here. But we'll see what he can do when he comes out the pits. He's definitely going to be aiming for fastest lap, I think, Diamond.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a very strong race. A safety car would definitely still bring him straight into the fight, and I think he could still do well and pick up a few positions from 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one driver who is struggling a little bit is Darth Grey Fox. He's just dropped out of the DRS window of Nigel Piggle, and Nigel Piggle, who started P19, I believe. If we have a look at the position change, yeah, he's up 13 places then. And he's up into P5. He does have a penalty to his name at the moment, so we'll see how this plays out at the end. And there we go.
Has dropped it.
Is this the safety car? It is.
It is the safety car.
Oh dear. Lewis Yorkie is already past the pit lane then, so he's got a little bit of time to think about whether he wants to box. Yeah.
Piggle is in. Darthway Fox stays out.
Yep. Jarvis is going to feel so hard done by. He comes into the box. Yeah, he comes into the box, and the next lap, there's a safety car. But it looks like he might be able to gain 2 positions off this. If he can get round quickly and get past the safety car line, he might be able to gain a couple of positions.
Ooh,
Law gets
a drive.
Oh, this is going to be incredibly close on the exit then.
And I think he has
Jarvis
got it.
is just.
Oh, he
close.
hasn't. He's popped back.
Oh. Nigel Piggle then just drives straight.
I think they're going to have to give the positions back.
So Jarvis then did make it out in front. And it looks like these drivers have chosen the soft compound tyres.
It's a long way to
go.
go
On the tyres in the pits. Yeah, it's a long way to go on the soft. You're right. I think if drivers have medium tyres available, they are definitely the tyres to choose. Marsbar has done exactly that. He's out on the 3-lap-old mediums. Jarvis is on the mediums. And the top 4 now have got a big decision to make. Do they want to come in?
I do think.
You would have to.
As a Spenio gets a drive through.
Spenio. And LWS Yorkie's going to stay out.
Yeah,
that is a Spenio's race, well and truly in the mud.
Yeah, I don't think Yorkie does need to come in. He has got the buffer of 3 cars in between him and Jarvis, so I do think has the best position after the pit stops.
But I think once a Spenio comes in for his drive-through, that's one less car to worry about. Darth Grey Fox stays out then. But Jarvis might be looking really solid for a potential victory today.
He's definitely... what a shock! But he's definitely in the best position out of everybody through this safety car period.
Yeah, Wolfie saying he wants to jinx Marsbar because Twixes are better. That's very controversial.
I'm not sure I agree with that statement.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree either. Right, so we've got 4 drivers on the soft compound tyres. It's going to make the end of this race very interesting indeed. Thank you, Big Maxwell, for causing the safety car. You've done us a big favour in the commentary box, because now this is looking very exciting all of a sudden.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very interesting end to the race. It'll be very interesting to see what Jarvis can do on these medium tyres.
Let's get our predictions in the chat then, everybody. Who do we think is going to come away with the victory? I think it's really difficult to tell here. Do we think the hard compound tyres are going to have enough pace left in them? I think if it was 2 or 3 laps later, I think
they'd have to come in.
They would have to come in for the softs, but I think I'm not sure the softs are going to last. So Jarvis to me is looking really interesting, because I think he does have the pace as well.
Yeah, he's shown very strong pace around here tonight, and he could definitely be up in the top 3 and even possibly the win here.
Yeah, the safety car then is going to be out one more lap. We've got a few drivers who are not quite on the back of the pack. I think Jimmy Dog and I'm Now Decent are both a lap down.
Yeah, Jimmy Dog
is currently P3 on track.
He's backing himself for the win. He says the softs won't last, I'm going to win.
Good lord.
And Wolfie saying that he reckons Jarvis, Darth Grey Fox and Yorkie top 3.
Jarvis is in that order, or
I think it's in that order, yeah.
Borley saying Ashy is a fraud. Ashy is absolutely a fraud. So then, will the safety car be in this lap? I absolutely hope so, because I would love to see us go green flag running. But looking at the sort of gap we've got at the back, it might be a late call if these guys can make their way onto the back of the pack relatively shortly.
too far back at this point. We are waiting for, I think it's a Lapia Finn to catch up at the back.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too late to come into the box then, so we're going to have another lap. Oh my lord. This would be a good opportunity, I think, for Jimmy Dog to just pull over to the side and get out the way.
Yeah, he is being a little bit of a roadblock here for Espenio.
I mean, Espenio is going to have to come in and serve his drive-through as soon as his safety car is over.
Still in the way.
So he is not going to win this race.
Oh, as Jarvis has had an issue and he's now back.
Right, Jimmy Dog has got out the way.
Oh.
And I think some people are getting illegal overtakes. You need to go off the track, Jimmy Dog, to let people through.
Oh dear. I don't know what happened to Jarvis, but he's now 11th.
So Jimmy Dog has... No, there we go. Jimmy Dog, well done, mate. Very, very good of you. Very good of you indeed.
Round of applause for Jimmy Dog.
Round of applause for the dog. Now, I'm now decent. You need to do the same, my friend. Get out the
Get out the way.
He's sitting in a P6, which is actually... Oh, there we go. I'm now decent. Round of applause.
Well.
Is he going to get out in front of Jimmy Dog though? Is he going to let Jimmy Dog? Oh, he's even let Jimmy Dog through. Right then, safety car in this lap, and I believe everyone is in the correct order.
Yeah.
Happy days. We have got no lapped car. Wait, yeah, we've got no lapped cars now.
El Plan looks to be in the best position now as Jarvis lost it.
Well, I don't understand. How have we got no lapped cars?
I don't know.
They've not overtaken the safety car and come round. So how is Jimmy Dog 8 seconds behind?
What a game.
I have absolutely no idea. Anyway.
Moving on.
Here we go then. Lewis Yorkie back in the pack, up incredibly far. And it looks like he's chosen to go, and he's caught CTX off guard. El Plan in the background looking to put some pressure then on Darth Grey Fox, and Nigel Piggle on the fresh soft compound tyres is already putting the pressure on, but he's not going to get a good enough exit to make a move down into turn number 1. And Jarvis is in P11.
Yeah, he lost it just before the safety car ended.
Oh dear. He was our bid for the win.
Yeah, he's done a Jarvis. He's totally mucked it up.
Right then. Nigel Piggle's going to have a look around the outside of Law, and it looks like Darth Grey Fox is going to close off El Plan. That's a little bit naughty there from Darth Grey Fox, and he's going to leave himself vulnerable to Nigel Piggle, who's going to use all of that battery as he wants to move up into P4. As he goes later on the brakes, then Darth Grey Fox is going to leave him the space. Nigel Piggle going to just pinch him a little bit on the inside, and he gets the move done, and that is an excellent move then. As he gets up into P4 on track, he does have a penalty in the background. El Plan is also going to look to follow through on Darth Grey Fox. He's going to look to go deep on the brakes around the outside. Has he got enough grip? It looks like he does. What a move this will be from El Plan if he can pull this off. Round the outside of Darth Grey Fox. What a move. Unbelievable stuff there from El Plan. Espenio really struggling then on this safety car in lap.
I'd imagine he'd be in now to serve his drive through.
Yeah, he's going to be in the box, so El Plan just needs to bide his time a little bit as he does make his way through now. Now we do need to pay attention to El Plan because he's got 2 drivers up in front with a 2-second time, or with a 3-second time penalty. So if he can keep things clean, as Pasha up the inside of Plixty into turn 1, and Plixty does give him the room. So really nicely done from the pair of them, and that is Pasha then up to P7 after all the problems he's had. I'm sure he's going to take P7.
Jarvis has got I'm now decent all over the back of him.
Yeah,
Who is
I'm now
now
Decent's going to look
showing
around the
some
outside. Jarvis is going to give him a little bit of squeeze on the exit. But up in front, it's Nigel Piggle then, who goes up the inside of CTX. And I believe, if we take a quick look at the penalties, yes, this is for track position then. CTX has been overtaken by Nigel, and Nigel now up to P2. And if he can pull a little bit of a gap, Nigel might be able to actually salvage P2 come the end of the race. Mars Bar gets past Darth Grey Fox then. He's making the use of the medium compound tyres.
Yeah, Mars Bar's looking in a great position. I think the mediums are the better tyre to be on. I'm not sure how the softs are going to be looking on the last lap.
Yeah, so then Nigel Piggle is already onto the back of Lewis Yorkie. Both of them have their light flashing. We've got a yellow flag, and it looks like it's Darth Grey Fox. Ooh. Oh no. He's desperately unlucky. Red Bull are in the mud. Unbelievably unlucky then. I mean, we've got 6 different teams in the top 6, which is very good to see indeed. Nigel Piggle then. Yeah, Nigel Piggle is going to put Yorkie under pressure. He's going to use all of his batteries, not leaving anything. Nigel Piggle must have some incredibly low wings. He's going to look then at the inside of Yorkie. Yorkie's going to turn in slightly too early, but it's on the most part very clean from the pair. Nigel Piggle gives Yorkie a little bit of a squeeze on the inside, and that is him through, and he's going to look to pull a gap.
Yeah, that was it was a move that needed to happen from Nigel Piggle. That it gives him a great opportunity to pull the gap out now from Outplan and keep that second place. As we have had another spin.
Oh, who's it this time? Is it the Lapio Fin?
It is indeed the Lapio Fin.
Desperately unlucky then. So Yorkie, all he needs to do is tag onto the back of Nigel Piggle. Nigel Piggle needs to break out of the DRS this lap, but his tyres are really going to be struggling now, Diamond. I think 6 laps is probably then past their best, as Pasha then has a spin. Oh, and he's just avoided by Jarvis and both the Alpha Tauris, as the Alpha Tauris are now showing as a lap down.
Yeah, they are just having a proper... Oh, as Outplan has gone straight on after turn 2.
Yep, he's struggling on these soft compound tyres, and he's just got to make them last another 3 laps, which is going to be a tall order. And it looks like
he's left himself up for Mars Bar.
Yeah, barring any big mistakes, it's going to be really difficult this race for anyone to challenge Lewis Yorkie.
This Mars Bar has got past Outplan now, moved himself up into 4th place. He's in a very good position. If he can stay within 3 seconds of CTX, he could be in for a top 3 finish here.
Yep, so Lewis Yorkie just about holding on to the DRS of Nigel Piggle. And with that being said, he's just dropped out of it, and I'm not too sure if he's going to have enough life left in the tyres to pull that 3-second gap. L Plan has closed in on Mars Bar, and this is going to be a battle for position with neither driver having a time penalty.
Oh, I think Prince Pasha has just dropped it.
Oh, he's dropped it twice in 2 laps, and that means he's going to lose a place to Espenio now. And Espenio really desperately needs these championship points to bring him back up towards Viking Beast at the top of the standings. It's been a very difficult day for Espenio. After a very good qualifying, it's just not gone his way at all today. But if he can hold on to P8, that's definitely some decent points on the board to take to the next round in Spain.
Oh, I think Prince Pasha's lost it again. He's really not having a good time out there now. His softs are going to be screaming.
Yep, so L Plan then half a second behind Mars Bar. He's dropped it again as old Pasha. He's getting dizzy, I think. Surely. So then, Nigel Piggle is going to manoeuvre his way around the hotel section for the penultimate time, as his tyres surely have got to be past their best. And we talked about how Lewis Yorkie's had a lot of terrible luck in the last few races after starting the season. Very strong indeed at USA. And it looks like he is going to be on course then to take the victory here in Abu Dhabi. All he needs to do is navigate his way around this 15-turn circuit one more time. Nigel Piggle just did not have enough in the tyres to pull a gap in the end, and he's made a number of overtakes on the safety car restart, and I don't think any of us expected him to be up this high. Did you, Diamond?
No, he's done very well. The safety car definitely came in very nicely for him, and it's benefited him very well. He's had a very good race.
Yep, so then coming down the back straight for the final time, Lewis Yorkie is not going to try and put a move on Nigel Piggle. There is absolutely no point in him trying to make a move. Nigel Piggle does still have the 3-second time penalty, and it looks like CTX is going to just about have the gap to Mars Bar then to keep his podium. Obviously these results are very much provisional, and the stewards' report will be released later this week with the official race results. But we will go on board then with the winner of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's going to be Nigel Piggle who comes across the line first, but Lewis Yorkie is going to take the victory today. CTX is going to round out the podium, and then with an excellent performance from Mars Bar and El Plan on his debut to take 4th and 5th respectively. Jarvis is going to come across the line to take P7 in the end, followed by Espenio and the Lapio Finn, who is going to be the last of our drivers to come across the line for the next 30 seconds or so whilst we wait for Darth Grey Fox to come across the line. But what a race that was, and what a final last 5 laps or so, Diamond. And I think, you know, Lewis Yorkie's going to be really happy with that performance.
Yeah, he drove brilliantly from start to finish. He was dominant in qualifying, and he was very much, he had it in the bag for the race as well. He drove a very calm, clean race, and he smashed it tonight.
Well then, if you could do me a favour, Diamond, and just take a picture of the race director with all the tyres and whatnot. Otherwise the Tidjum loses his lid. Well then, here we have our finishing order then. So as I said, Lewis Yorkie, Nigel Piggle and CTX are on the podium tonight. What a recovery it was from Nigel Piggle, who started P18, and he made the 3-stop strategy work, and the safety car at the end to propel him up positions. We've got Darth Grey Fox, who did manage to get that fastest lap in the end with a 26.1. He's going to take the extra point along with his 1.4 P10. And yeah, it's been very good having you in the comms box, Diamond. And before we do round out the stream, if you want to give me your driver of the day, that would be excellent.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. There's quite a few people that could get driver of the day. Lewis Yorkie ran a very good race from start to finish. Jarvis had a very good race, but I don't think there is anyone who deserves it much more than Piggle, going from P18 to P2. I know it's not always best to give it the driver who's made the most positions, but I don't think there's much arguing against Piggle. He's had a very good race today.
Yep, then there we go. Nigel Piggle is going to be our driver of the day, and he's going to take a much needed P2, which is going to propel him up the standings. And before we round out the stream, we will direct you towards our league partners and what other racing we've got going on this week. From tomorrow night across Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are back with FPRL, and I believe it's Spa. You'll know the answer, Diamond. Is it Spa?
Spain. Spa. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Spa for FPRL.
Yeah, Spa.
On Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Our partners over at URC are going to be back again, and coincidentally it is going to be Abu Dhabi. They're back on Friday night, and also our friends over at EURL are going to be back with their Division 1 on Friday night, so tune in to those. If you're a part of the Discord, you will see a ping go live when those streams are up, and I hope you enjoy those streams as much as you've enjoyed our one. And once again, thank you for tuning in today. It was definitely an interesting race, an interesting qualifying session, and well done to our podium sitters again. And we will see you guys next week then, Monday and Tuesday as usual for Division 1 and Division 2. Next week we are around Spain